Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Thursday, and all of today's guests, including Farhan, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. The Giants' next home game, Tuesday night, when they take on Tri-City. Puck drop is 7 p.m. They've got a double dip up in Prince George this weekend.
Yes.
Grab your tickets for the Giants' final 4 home games at vancouvergiants.com/tickets. Delaney's OK Terry and Langley inbox. Just before we get to Farhan, Jack from Richmond. You guys seem to know it all because you have a sports-related TV show. Rutherford and Alvin are extremely smart. Be prepared to be surprised.
Wow.
Hey, most of the moves they make, I think most people would agree, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay,
For sure.
Lindholm, I don't think we're wrong saying he's got to pick it up.
No, for sure, 100%.
I'm sure Farhan would agree. Farhan Lalji joins us now from TSN. How are you, sir?
Boys, but listen, on the Lindholm front, they've all struggled to score since the All-Star break, right? I mean, JT Miller notwithstanding, Pettersson, Hughes, none of their numbers are what they were before the All-Star break. So things are tightening up. They're all trying to figure it out. I mean, there's every possibility that Lindholm, if he's here after tomorrow, could still turn things around. You have that pressure lifted, now that he's heard his name for the last couple of days, and maybe some other guys added that fit well with him. You don't know what you're going to get out of him over the last few games here.
Yeah, and JT Miller said that after the LA victory and Anaheim as well, back-to-back 2-1 wins. They have to learn how to play this way without scoring a whole lot of goals. Do you understand why the Canucks might flip Elias Lindholm?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, despite everything I've said, currently, through a dozen games or however long he's been here, it hasn't looked like a fit, right? And whether they've tried to put him on a wing next to Elias Pettersson or in the middle with Elias Pettersson on his wing, and maybe it looks different. People have felt that what would a third line with Garland and Joshua and Lindholm look like? Maybe a little more offensive juice than what they had with Teddy Bluger, but certainly Bluger was a fit for a lot of other reasons, but he hasn't had a chance to experiment in that role as a 3C as well. So I can see why in this moment they feel that they may need to move on. And part of it is also because, if they want to go big game hunting, they do have to clear some cap space to do that. And whether it's a player like Lindholm or maybe Mikheyev or some others that have been mentioned, they're probably going to need to make some sort of move unless they can find a team to be a holding house here for some cap space. They probably need to do something creative to make a big name work.
This is the first time we talked to you since the Elias Pettersson contract extension. You're okay with him? You okay with him having a cap hit of $11.6 million over 8 years?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, I think some people felt he was going to get above 12. I certainly don't believe he's taking a hometown discount. And I viewed Pettersson in that 5 to 10 range in terms of NHL players. So right now he's going to be the 5th highest paid player in the league. And, he probably is in that bubble. Now, these are hard contracts to live up to. We've seen what the pressure of a contract, how that's impacted him for the last few weeks. So, ultimately you're going to have to live up to that contract. He's going to be getting paid $3.6 million per year more than JT Miller over the life of that contract. So, those are all things he's got to show he can deal with. But when Pettersson is on, he can take games over and he's got breathtaking talent. There have been moments where he hasn't been on, and you don't want a superstar like that, a player that's getting paid superstar dollars to kind of disappear for 10 or 12 games. Even if there's a few assists here and there, I mean, generally, he hasn't been as noticeable. You don't want that to happen for a player getting paid those dollars unless it's injury related. So hopefully as he gets older and as his career progresses, we don't see that, but I think it's a fair deal.
Well, right now it looks like Gensel is going to be tough to get for the Canucks. They just don't have the prospects to pull that off.
And you know what? That's a good thing. Given what they gave up for Lindholm, Rick, am I wrong, bud?
No.
To put up that level of cost,
prospects, picks.
What are you doing here? I don't see that risk reward making sense to me. I think they should go out and get a Tyler Toffoli, or even a.
He's not going to be. Tyler Toffoli is not going to be cheap. Just so you know. Like,
No,
I
but you'll be
mean,
cheaper.
it'll be cheaper than Gensel, but there's going to be one heck of a battle to get to Foley, I'll tell you that much. I mean, Donnie was saying he's got 26 goals already. I mean, that guy is going to get a good haul from New Jersey for sure. But the point is, Canucks need help in their top six because Mikheyev hasn't scored in 32 games. Suter hasn't scored in 16. They got to find somehow to get a winger in there that can score.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that clearly is their biggest need. You know, we can talk about them needing to get better on the fourth line or getting some more depth defensemen, but top six forward, when we know how difficult goals are to come by in the playoffs, that is absolutely their number one need. So, you know, how they're going to go about addressing it is going to be interesting to see because, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't give the haul that they gave for Lindholm for Gensel. Like, I just don't think the Canucks should take that level of risk. I know people think they got to go for it now. Everything's going right, but I'm not feeling that. So if they can find a way to get one of those other players for a little bit less, that's the need. There's no doubt. And you know what would Pettersson look like with a bona fide scoring winger on his wing? And I love what Nils Hoglander has done all season long with his 20 goals, all at 5-on-5. But if they could find another player, because right now Mikheyev, look, I know there's people in that building that believe that Mikheyev is going to turn it around next year when he is fully healthy from the injury, which again just goes to show they should have got him on, off the ice earlier last year. But I think people believe that next year he's going to have his speed back and he's going to be different. But right now, that guy is the place where scoring chances go to die. Like, you know, at least he's good at his own end, you know. So, and he's not getting a 6x6 like Louis Eriksson did. So we're not crushing him like what Louis had to go through, but it's a tough place for him right now, and there's no other place for him. I mean, in the end, he probably winds up on their fourth line and provides some penalty killing utility if they can get one of these guys traded for, if they can get Phil Kessel signed, like anything like that. But right now, Mikheyev simply doesn't have it.
Down the highway, the Seahawks cut safeties Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. That was pretty big news. I think now they have $36 million to play with cap-wise. And you know they're going to try and get some the Ravens have a ton of UFAs on defense. You know they're going to try and get some of those guys. How do they fill those spots in Seattle?
Yeah, I think they needed to clear the cap space right away to do that. And some of the players that are coming off that Ravens team are going to be pretty highly sought after, but certainly Mike McDonald's got a pretty good familiarity with those guys. But they also got rid of Brian Monet. They also got rid of Will Dissly. So I think it's closer to $40 million that they're going to have to spend. And that defense was incredibly bad last year, right? I mean, in terms of their inability to defend the run, how they played on third down defensively. They've got some guys that are still there that they've got to make some decisions on, or guys that are pending free agents, but maybe they've already made decisions, right? I mean, it certainly doesn't look like Bobby Wagner's going to be back, and there's a few others there. They've drafted well. They've got some young players that are ready to ripen and be difference makers, but in the middle of that defense, right down the spine, defensive tackle, inside linebacker, safety, they're going to need some help, right? And really probably right across the defensive line, they're going to need some help. So having $40 million to spend is a good thing, and hopefully they spend it wisely. And for John Schneider, this is a signature draft, right? And you've still got some good draft capital coming off the Russell Wilson trade and where they're at now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with Schneider being in charge now, right? I mean, it's not Pete Carroll's team, but that defense needs a big-time makeover.
Okay, also, Farhan, Nathan Rourke extended, or the Patriots are going to keep him. Is that a good thing for Nathan Rourke?
Yeah, I'm debating that, right? Because right now I think we all believe that New England is going to take a quarterback with the third overall pick. Now, could they trade back potentially? They could. Could they get in on Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins? They could. Those would be great scenarios for Nathan Rourke. But if they draft a quarterback high at number 3 and then go out and bring in a mentor, like a veteran player, Jacoby Brissett or Teddy Bridgewater or Joe Flacco or one of these guys who are going to be in demand because, you're going to get 6 quarterbacks drafted in the top 50 picks. So all those teams are going to want mentors for those guys. If they do that and they give that player a guarantee, that becomes problematic for Nathan Rourke because that's what he dealt with in Jacksonville last year behind C.J. Beathard. He was told he was going to get to compete for number 2. He never did. They're telling him now again, you're going to get a fair opportunity to compete for number 2. I hope that happens. The other thing I'm hearing out of New England is they are determined that if they take a quarterback at number 3, he's not playing in year 1. They're going to make him sit. And if that happens, that's a good thing for Nathan Rourke because, he can work with whatever veteran stopgap is there to potentially play games, at least in the first dozen games before maybe they get pressured to play the rookie or until the following year. So, depending on whether or not there's some conviction there in terms of letting that quarterback sit, if they get in on one of these other guys and trade back and try to fill their roster, they've got massive holes in their roster. Are they better off, getting Kirk Cousins and trading back and getting some additional first-round picks or something along those lines? Those would certainly be good scenarios for Nathan Rourke.
All right, you're a handsome guy, but there are two things that are catching my eye right now. First of all, the Grey Cup Festival T-shirt.
The T-shirt.
Lions
it's crooked. Hey,
yeah.
This way it's kind of crooked. Yeah.
Or is it the shirt or you? I'm not sure.
Might have something to do with you more.
Yeah. So the Grey Cup.
Let's try to. Yeah.
Grey Cup Vancouver 2024, and you've got is it a pink beer can behind you?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Beer can.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Pink Whistle campaign. All the proceeds that you'd expect with the color pink are going to the BC Cancer Foundation. My good friend Karn Dillon, a famous local basketball official, has put this
I know
together.
him.
We've got a couple of. You do, right? You've got a couple of great local breweries, Four Winds and Parkside Local Brewery, that put this together. The beer inside it is actually pink, and these are a hot commodity. So if you want to go buy one, you better do it quick because they're about to run out. Or just get on the Basketball BC website. You should get on there anyway because provincial basketball, the boys' championships are going on. Coming up this week, right? So there's going to be a lot of interest in basketball locally. So get on Basketball BC's website. You can donate there directly, or you can pick up a can at one of those great breweries. And maybe one of your pubs has it, in their taps.
Yeah, Parkside is in my neck of the woods in Port Moody. And our friend John Connors is involved in the Pink Whistle campaign as well. Farhan, thanks so much for this. Appreciate it.
All right, boys. Have fun in the next 48 hours, especially you, Rick. Don't work too hard.
It's 24/7, 24/7.